Hello everybody, this is your friend Spencer here. Thank you for watching today's video. I appreciate you guys very much. And go ahead and smite thine like button for the YouTube algorithm. That'll be a great help and a blessing to this channel. And also, if you're new, subscribe to this channel. We're going to talk about health and wealth for a little while. And we've got some verses here on the board. I want to step out of the way so you can get a screenshot of those. And that'll be a great blessing. I know that you will enjoy all this. And today we're going to talk about, of course, health and wealth. I got a muscle man right there and got a money symbol right there. And today's subject is going to be about the length of days. How long do you live? How do I get to live a long, happy life on this planet? And what are some of the things that I can do to accomplish that goal? We're going to talk about that for a little while. I think that'd be a great topic, and I know you guys will enjoy this. So let's get into the Bible here. Just give you some verses. I'm going to go through these verse by verse here and just kind of give you what the Bible says. I want you to know that the charismatics, a lot of them think that they're going to live 120 years on this earth, and that's because they can decree and declare health upon themselves, and they can, it's just so much there. They can, like Kenneth Copeland is the classic example of this, how he talks about he's going to live 120 years, but like he's already got a pacemaker and he's still got about 40-something years to go. Not looking good, Kenneth. So I don't know how they say that, but they tend to think that, and they like to manipulate you into thinking that if you're right with God and if you're spiritual like them, then you'll live some inordinate amount of years and whatever. And really there's a lot of half-truths in that. And but I just want to give you exactly what the Bible says and give you no more than that, because the Bible is the authority in all matters of faith and practice. And if you are going outside the bounds of the Bible, you get into heresy, you get into error, really you get into mysticism, and that's not where we want to be if we're going to be a Bible-believing Christian. So let's look here, Psalm 90 verse 10. I want you to know this, that everybody who lives in this day and age, you're promised somewhere around 70 to 80 years, 70 to 80 years. And I think that's wonderful. I think you can do a lot in 70 to 80 years. You can raise a family, you can do a business, you can make a lot of money in 70 to 80 years. You can change the world, you can invent something useful. There's a lot you can do. And so God has been good to give us a lot of time. The Bible says in Psalm 90 verse 10 right here, it says, "The days of our years are 80 years and 10, and if by reason of strength they be 80 years. Now a score is 20, so 80 is 60, and 10 is 70. And if by reason of strength they be 80 years, yet is their strength labor and sorrow, for it is soon cut off, and we fly away." That's Psalm 90 verse 10. So really anything past 80 years, and really anything past 70 years is a bonus. And you can expect that and plan for that. And I hope to do so. I hope to live. I'm asking God to let me live at least 80 years. I think that'd be wonderful. I'd like to see my grandchildren, see my great-grandchildren, and I think that'd be a great thing. And so I'm asking God for that as well. Also, I want you to see here Hebrews 9:27. "And it is appointed unto men once to die, but after this the judgment. It is appointed unto man once to die." You and I have an appointment in the future that we have to meet. And I think what that means is, okay, we give these length of days here, but I think that there's an appointment, there's a cutoff point at the end where we have to die, and God has appointed for that for us. So I want to also say in this category right here, just give you some of these guys here, these Kings and Chronicles verses. I believe, just from looking at the Bible, there are many people in the Old Testament, kings and priests and things like that, that because of their obedience and because they lived for God and because they did the right thing before the Lord, God gave them length of days, and God gave them a very long life. And I do think that could be in effect today even still, in that if we do what's right before God and we manage our bodies well and we obey the Lord, and man, God can give us the blessing of having a very long and fruitful life. The Bible says here, 1 Kings 13, 3 verse 13 and 14, and this is the prayer of Solomon where he just asked God for wisdom. God said, "I'll give you anything you want." He said, "Well, Lord, I just want wisdom." Okay, this is what the Bible says. "And I have also given thee that which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee all thy days. And if you will walk in my ways and keep my statutes and my commandments as thy father David did walk, then will I lengthen thy days. And we know Solomon lived a good long life, so that's very interesting right there. So I think if we do that, we walk and we keep the statutes of God and the commandments of God, and we do the right thing before the Lord, I think we can lengthen our days and have a good long life. I think that's possible. Also, I see here that in 2 Kings chapter 20, verse 5 and 6, there was a king Hezekiah, and he got news that he was going to die. But he prayed and wept sore before God and begged God for more time. And God was good enough and gracious enough to give him 15 more years. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine getting a bad health report at 60 and then you ask God, say, God, give me 15 more years, and God grants that. That's what happened with Hezekiah. The Bible says, 2 Kings chapter 20, verse 5 and 6, the Lord speaking to Isaiah the prophet, it says, Turn again and tell Hezekiah the captain of my people, thus saith the Lord, the God of David thy father, I have heard thy prayer, I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will heal thee. On the third day thou shalt go up unto the house of the Lord, and I will add unto thy days 15 years. Wow. And I will deliver thee out and this city out of the hand of the king of Assyria. And so very interesting right there. The Lord gave Hezekiah 15 more years. What a blessing. Also, you find here in 1 Chronicles 29:28 that the death of David is described here. And the Bible says in this verse, and he died, that's David, and he died in a good old age, full of days, riches, and honor, and Solomon his son reigned in his stead. So he died in a good old age, full of days, riches, and honor. I think we ought to want that. I want that. I want to live good long days and have my children, call me blessed, and man, just full of good old age. I don't want to die young. I don't want to die tragically. I don't want any of that. I want to live in good old age. And then also we find here in 2 Chronicles 24:15 that there was a priest and an interesting guy named Jehoiada. And he waxed old, as the Bible says. And the Bible says that Jehoiada waxed old, was full of days when he died, and 130 years old was he when he died. What a blessing. 130, boy, that's a long time. Imagine how many books you could read in 130 years. How many, I mean, so much you could do in 130 years. Imagine a 70-year-old man and then almost double that. That's a long, long time, buddy. And that's a blessing from the Lord. But I also want to say this to you. I want you to get this. The blessings of God can add years to your life. I think so. But at the same time, sin can shorten your life. Sin can cause you to die prematurely. But not everybody who dies prematurely is in sin. I want that to be clear. But I think that when a person gets into sin and lives a sinful lifestyle, for example, they get on drugs, or they do some sort of debauchery with their life, or they abuse their body through riotous living, as the Bible calls it. I think you can shave years off of your life. I mean, there's a lot of movie stars who die in their 50s. I mean, I think of, there was one guy who did The Sopranos, who was the main character of that. I never saw the show, but I read an article on the main character dying, and he was doing like cocaine and hadn't slept for days, and he died of a heart attack, and he was, pretty bad overweight and all kinds of, just eating terrible, living terrible, not sleeping, doing cocaine. He died in his 50s. Also, you look in the rock and roll scene, and matter of fact, in our book, Calling Evil Good, the Live Christian Rock and Roll that we did, we actually have something called the 27 Club in there. Now, if you're not familiar with the 27 Club, the 27 Club was a group of rock stars who lived such hard, terrible lives that they actually died at the age of 27. How wild is that? I mean, that's a short life. That's a young life. But so many people like Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain, I believe Janis Joplin was one as well. They all died at the age of 27, and so they started calling it the 27 Club. The Bible says here in Proverbs 10:27 that the fear of the Lord prolongeth days, but the years of the wicked shall be shortened. Wow. You live hard, you live rough, you can shave years off your life. Also, I want to go to 1 Corinthians 11, 29 verse through 30. And I want you to see here that Paul is giving instruction about the Lord's table and the ordinance of the local church of the Lord's Supper. And these people were a total mess as a church. They were living in sin. There's just a number of different debaucherous things that these saved people were doing over there at Corinth. Well, he kind of talks about that. And he talks about if you do this Lord's Supper unworthily or out of order, if you will, some people have died as a result of that. And I think God kills people. I really do. Some people don't believe that. How could a loving God kill some of His people? I do think that there are some Christian people who have sinned so grievously that God takes them home early. And I think this is a good example of that. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians 11:29-30, "For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body. For this cause many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep." That word sleep at the end talks about the Christian's death. And Christians don't really die. We just go to sleep is what we do until we're resurrected again at the rapture, I believe. And then also 1 John 5:16 talks about the sin unto death. And I believe a Christian can sin unto death. I think they can. I've known some people that I thought did. The Bible says, "If any man see his brother sin a sin which is not unto death, he shall ask, and he shall give him life for them that sin not unto death. There is a sin unto death. I do not say that he shall pray for it." So we find there, according to these verses, that sin can shave years off of your life and can cause you to die prematurely. It can happen. It can happen. I know people that I believe it has happened to. But I also want to say that that's not all the bad news. There's good news here. There's verses that seem to indicate, and I put them all over here, that if you live right and you live righteous and you do God's will with your life, it can add length of days. And really, a lot of people talk about quality of life. I think this can add quality of life and length of life to your days. I think it can do both. The Bible says here, Proverbs chapter 3, verse 1 and 2, "My son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments. For length of days and long life and peace shall they add unto thee." Wow. God's commandments adds length of days, long life, and peace. I want those. Why would you not want that? That's amazing. That's great. I want that. Well, you got to do God's will to have that. Proverbs 3:16 says, "Length of days is in her right hand, and in her left hand riches and honor." And that's talking about wisdom. And we talked about in 3 Adam 3 how the Gnostics kind of made a god out of wisdom, a goddess out of wisdom. And we know that according to the Bible there is no such thing as a goddess, but it's a personification of wisdom in the Scriptures. And but we understand if you walk in God's wisdom, the Bible says that length of days are in her right hand, and her left hand riches and honor. That's your health and wealth right there. You walk in God's wisdom, you can have a little bit of both. I think you can. I think you can. So Proverbs 9:10-11 says this, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. For by me thy days shall be multiplied, and the years of thy life shall be increased." Wow, that's pretty cool. And then also the last verse here, Proverbs 6:1-3. I think a lot of young people need to get this verse and need to hear it because I think it's important. "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise, and that it may be well with thee, and that thou mayest live long on the earth." There are young people out there who have so terribly mistreated their parents and dishonored their parents and brought shame and reproach upon their parents that the Bible even says that they may have shortened their life by doing so. And that's not good. That's not what anybody wants. You don't want that. I don't want that. And so honor your parents, and if you do so, you can have length of days. Guys, I am so excited about this series. There's so many things. I've got I think I've got 15 videos planned for this. It's just so much. It's just great. I'm excited about it. So thank you guys for watching. Go ahead and smite that like button, and all your dreams will come true. That's not true. We just say that all the time on here. And then also, if you would, subscribe to this channel if you're new. And we will see you guys next time. Don't forget, Health and Wealth series coming up. See you guys soon. Have a great day.